Okay, so I'm going to get us started with our, just to show everyone the agenda. Today, we're going to start with our community agreements. We're going to talk about the Solidarity's Brewing campaign. And then our topic today is union busting. And we have Lydia Claypool from Kansas City, Starbucks Workers United. And we also have our friend Evan from Ithaca Starbucks Workers United, Comrade Tori Tambolini from Pittsburgh, Starbucks Workers United, and Ken LeBlanc from Carbondale Starbucks Workers United. And then we will talk a little bit about how you and your chapter, your union, can also all support Starbucks workers. And then we'll have our Q&A to close out. Okay, so we're starting with our community agreements. The goal of these calls is to support Starbucks workers. We're here to support the workers, not direct them. And please remember that these meetings are open to all, so just treat it like you would a public meeting and discuss things as you would at a public in-person meeting. Please assume good faith in others and encourage yourself and others to maintain a positive attitude and honor the work of others. Step up, step back, be mindful of time, always respect people's pronouns. Please share them in the chat if your own, and then please pay attention and respect people's pronouns. And if you have a question, you can type stack in the chat to add yourself to the queue to speak or to ask a question. And we're going to do the bulk of the Q&A at the end, but Lydia is going to do her Q&A right after her section. Okay. So again, remember our campaign, the Solidarity is Brewing campaign, is for DSA members and DSA chapters to support workers. We're there to support them on the picket line. We're there to support them by organizing sit-ins, but all of these things we do with explicit consent of the organizing committee or your point of contact at the store. And if you don't know anyone at a store, you can always reach out to DSA Labor and we will try to connect you. Okay, so our topic today is union busting. We all know that union busting is disgusting. It is something that companies will spend up to $300 million a year on, probably much more this year because of the amazing actions by workers. But since companies are cracking down, companies are engaging in illegal union busting tactics. So we're going to hear a little bit about what that actually looks like in practice. We look at this chart every week when we talk about like what the process is of organizing. And this process is one way that companies use to union bust, and they do this by delaying. So they will, what we're seeing Starbucks do since all of this year is tell stores that they aren't allowed to file for their union election as a store. They have to do it as a regional, or they will fire people and delay and appeal and just use delay as a way to union bust. And today, Lydia Claypool is here to talk to us a little bit about what that has looked like at her store. So Lydia.
Thank you. Just to let y'all know, my pronouns are she, her. And I guess to start, there's some like really great photos on this. One that I think says a lot about like the union busting at my location is the picture, like the group photo that is on the top right. Only myself and one other partner are still at my store from that photo. So yeah, we filed for our union in on January 31st. And just to kind of go off of like the delay aspect of union busting, kind of a new thing that Starbucks is doing with our store specifically is they're trying to claim that the NLRB office that worked with us for our election was somehow like swaying the results of the election due to some partners having to do mail-in ballots and some doing in-person like votes for our election. And then I just want to point out like a few other things just like in our Midwest like area. We've had a store closure. We've had 6 partners total be fired and then 4 be constructively discharged in addition. So we definitely like have had our fair share of firings, as I think majority of the speakers here have also experienced. And then I guess like another big thing that happened at my location is that the day that we filed for our union, our district manager took it really personally, and she said that we had stabbed her in the back and that like she had not, seen this coming. And they kind of started targeting our like queer partners, telling them that the like gender affirming care that Starbucks provided to partners could potentially all go away if we voted yes for our union. And then accuse another one of our partners for stealing $20,000 with no real evidence. And then they also called the police on us after a captive audience meeting that was held. So it's been like particularly aggressive at our location, but I think what has helped keep us strong is definitely the community support. We've had some like really successful strikes where there's been community allies showing up for us. We've had sip-ins at other locations in our area that have been really successful. And then just like, trying to remember that the company wouldn't be union busting this hard if they didn't know that what we're fighting for is really worth it. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. But yeah, I appreciate being here. And yeah, we're doing all right. It sounds really bad, like all of that union busting stuff, but we're hanging in there, just like all the partners around the country right now.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lydia. Um, I'm going to open Stack for questions because Lydia opens, but I'm going to put myself on Stack first, and I'm going to ask, what are ways that you and your partners have been able to support each other when you're dealing with things like this?
It's a really good question. I think we've been really lucky at my store just because we went into this kind of as like a really close-knit family, as most partners are at their stores. So we've just really tried to like be available for each other during these experiences. And a lot of times, like any fired partner will tell you, like there's times where it feels like you get just like forgotten about almost. And so it's really important for me to just constantly check in on those partners and make sure that they know that we're still fighting for them. And yeah.
That's really beautiful that you're there for all of the other fired partners across the country. I see this sign, and there's way too many names on that list.
Yeah, I could not get all the names on that list. I actually want to make like a full one with all the partners on it, because I quickly ran out of room on that one.
Are there any other questions? Oh, I see Tori has shared that we're up to a total of 92 fired partners nationwide. Could you explain to people what the word partner means?
Yeah, so it's a term. It's kind of a term that's like ingrained in Starbucks workers because it's the term that Starbucks uses to describe us. And it's a way that they use to like make us all feel like we're connected. So that a barista and a district manager are all partners at the end of the day. And it ends up being very it's like very toxic when you really think about it, but it's so ingrained in me that I just can't switch over now from just using employee. But yeah, it's basically just a word for employee.
As a former partner, I love that it's been reclaimed and is now used as the way that the union members are talking about each other as well. But thank you so much, Lydia. We're all here for you, and that's why we're doing these calls, is to like hear about ways that we can support. So I know everyone here is looking forward to the end of this fight, but also is there for you during along the way. And Paul said in the chat, solidarity with you, Lydia. Okay, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
yeah. Okay. So some of the other things that we've seen around the country is Starbucks making a lot of promises after what happened in Buffalo and across the country. So at the beginning of the summer, they said that employees would be getting new benefits, but not at the stores that are unionizing. And we heard from Lydia that, you know, while Starbucks paints itself as a progressive company, as soon as employees want to see democracy in the workplace, they take those benefits, whether it's benefits for queer partners and trans partners, and all of the other benefits, and they use that actually to punish people. And we've seen that also in Ithaca. So Evan, would you like to talk? Evan is a partner from Ithaca and a badass organizer. So he's going to talk about what's going on at his store.
So, I figure I should start from the beginning. Back in October of 2021, so we didn't announce our campaign until January of 2022, but we started organizing in October of 2021. We just took a break because there's like cyclic business and we didn't want our union campaigns to get washed away during winter break because we live in because we're right by a college town. That's why the store is called College Avenue, because we're right next to Cornell University. One of our stores, I mean. We have 3 stores in Ithaca. So I worked at College Avenue since August of 2020. And, you know, I was working there for a while and I noticed a lot of, you know, there were issues with management, but we had this little break, this little like period where it was good and we had a nice manager and things like that. But she unfortunately quit because she was being mistreated by upper management, who we also had problems with. It was also around that time that I started wearing a union pin in support of the union in Buffalo, you know, just in solidarity, which the manager was okay with, but the new manager was not okay with. I had to take it off. At the same time that this was all happening, a worker named Stephanie went to go work at one of the other stores in Ithaca as a SALT to organize the union there. And our effort became a joint effort almost immediately. You know, her reaching out, me reaching out, some of my other coworkers reaching out. And we had a pretty established organizing committee for both of the stores in Ithaca. At the same time, they're opening a 3rd store in Ithaca, and we planned on unionizing that one as soon as it opened. And we did. We signed 75% of cards within 7 days of the store opening for the first time, as well as 75% cards in all 3 stores, just in total, in January of 2022. We won all 3 elections landslide in April, and things were pretty good, but we did go on strike in April as well, because, and this is actually important, we have like this above ground grease trap. We don't use grease at Starbucks, but for some reason we have this unmaintained above ground grease trap, and it just overflowed and went everywhere, and the management wanted us to clean it up and with mops and rags, which is an OSHA violation. And the workers that were currently on all walked out and went on strike. I joined them later on that day, and it was really powerful. It was a really powerful day. You know, a lot of us was all like undermining management and advocating for ourselves, which is really great. And I guess we were just outspoken that on June 3rd, 2022, they decided that they would tell us with less than a week notice that they were going to close our store permanently at College Avenue. So we then went into an 8-week bargaining period, where it was really, a lot of these bargaining sessions that are happening with with other stores are taking like, 1 day, 2 days, but like a total of around 14 hours. We did around 14 hours too, but 14 hours over 8 weeks, because that's how little Starbucks was willing to meet with us. They're willing to this only 1 hour or 2 hours at a time, over these 8 weeks, leaving partners, suffering. They were not getting paid by Starbucks. We had to crowdfund all of our money. Luckily, during this time, we were able to pay workers, and the union helped out, which was really fantastic. And partners went back to work on August 1st. After we came to an agreement that they would give us union recognition within a certain period of time if they ever reopened the store, or if the court ordered them to reopen the store, they have to offer a certain amount of union recognition. Right now, we just in August alone, we had 3 partners at the remaining 2, I think, the stores get fired for just BS reasons. And we went on strike for an entire week. It was, it was not really it was more of like a strike in solidarity with them. We wanted the reinstatement, but obviously that was not going to happen, unfortunately. So we did go back to work. I just went back to work after a leave of absence. So things in Ithaca right now are like, they're looking a little better than they have been, because we're getting one of our like really evil managers is leaving. But it's still looking a little bit dismal. So, we're staying strong and having solidarity with each other. But we really are looking on the community right now to support us in helping us, stay in solidarity with getting College Avenue reopened, and supporting us in our future endeavors. Right now, we don't have like any money in our strike fund anymore, because we used all of it to pay people. So if we ever wanted to go on a future strike or needed the money for any other action, we don't have that anymore. So, we're really hoping that people, I think we're going to put up the strike fund after this, but if people could donate to our strike fund, that would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. So we have so many stores across the country, and so many people are supporting. But Ithaca does have like 3 stores. One did close, but that means workers from 3 different stores, and they've been so militant, going on strike, confronting the boss. Benjamin joined us at an earlier call talking about that first strike over the grease trap. The funds are really low right now. So if people could donate. If you can't donate, please share it on social media, because we're all in this together, and their fight is our fight. They are building this strong labor movement for all of us. Thank you so much, Evan. So next is going to be Tori, and Tori is going to be talking about inoculation and about her own store, and she's also going to be talking about how workers build and escalate actions. So I'm going to turn it over to Tori. Thank you.
Hi, so I have a lot to talk about because we just filed a massive ULP, or the Region 6 of the NLRB just filed a massive ULP complaint against Starbucks for just things that happened in Pittsburgh. In over 1 month, there were 60 instances of employer misconduct in Pittsburgh, divided mostly between my store and one other store. So we started organizing back in March, and we are up to a total of 11 union stores now. My store filed in on March 23rd, we filed. And from there, we faced a ton of union busting. We had captive audience meetings where we were outright lied to about the union. Of course, we had something similar to most other cities where trans partners were threatened with that, like if we voted yes to a union, their like benefits would be taken away. We had one store on Carnegie Mellon's campus where the partners there were told literally word for word that they would be squashed like bugs if they voted to unionize. So we had that going on at our stores in Pittsburgh. We also had at one point our manager printed out a handout with fake tweets on it from Workers United, just a list of fake tweets. And I think he got 3 copies of those out to the partners at my store before we made fun of him so much that he stopped. What else? We had our district manager start making promises of a remodel for my store that had not been in the budget in the past, but now that we had filed for a union election, it was very suddenly in the budget. Our district manager actually walked into our store, screwdriver in hand, to make repairs to our bathroom. She said, like, I'm gonna go cover up the electrical outlets in your restrooms. And we were like, why? And she was like, so that the homeless people can't come in with their electric razors and shave in the bathrooms. And we were like, what? Like, we've seen people do some weird things in those bathrooms, and that's not one of them. We are desperate for sharps disposal containers though, so please. But it was absolutely wild. And then I was eventually given an internship with Workers United after organizing my store. We won our election on May 26th, and then I was given an internship through Workers United. And I had started to help other stores in the greater Pittsburgh area organize, and I'd also made a couple trips to DC and helped the first store in DC to file for their union election. And the day that I came back from my second trip to DC, I was fired. So another important detail of this is that there was an effects bargaining call for the closure of temporary closure of one of our stores, one of our union stores. And there were 3 people on that call, and within the week, all 3 of us were fired. So within 2 months of me being fired, there were 9 more people fired in my district. So we've had it pretty rough in Pittsburgh, but the NLRB is finally making some moves on our cases, especially the things that happened early on in between us filing and us winning our elections. So we've been decently successful with filing new stores, but Starbucks is definitely keeping up the pace with having almost as many fired partners as we do union stores. It's been tough. I'm trying to think of other things that they did as union busting, but yeah, my store has gone on strike a couple of times. We've had some good strikes going on in Pittsburgh and a lot of community support as well, because the United Steelworkers headquarters is just 1 block from my store. So every once in a while we have them cheering us on, ordering drinks under the name Union Strong, having sip-ins, and even had like a mini rally at one point where they all came in. Oh, that one picture of me was taken by one of the steel workers in that top left corner. That was the moment that we got our 8th yes vote and won our election. So, and then you can see the coalition of labor union women in that store, in that picture there in the purple. They're awesome. We've had a lot of community support, which is great, and we absolutely need it here in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh really is union town. So that's been really what's keeping us going. And things have been tough at my store. I think Starbucks really accomplished their goal of scaring people and dividing us whenever me and the other supervisor at my store were fired. But the community support has been keeping us going, even though people at my store are scared.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tori. Who's the lizard friend?
I don't remember the lizard friend. I must not have been there for that one. Oh my gosh.
That's actually a preview of, I think lizards are really pro-union. But thank you so much, Tori. Oh, actually, one more thing. I wanted to ask, oh, wrong. Here we go. Could you talk a little bit about how you prepare your coworkers, your partners in Pittsburgh, and then also in other states on like what the Boss campaign is going to look like?
Oh, on like what the inoculation and what to expect when you're expecting a union, as we say sometimes. So normally it starts out with just oh, we're here to listen to you guys. If you have any questions about the union, you can totally ask your manager and they'll definitely give you honest information. And I know that at my store, they did something where they tried to like meet all of our predicted bargaining demands before we could win our union election to really try and slow down the momentum. Luckily, in the process, as I mentioned with the walking in with the screwdriver in hand example, they really just showed us how out of touch they really were. So that's another thing that a lot of the managers will do, will try to meet the predicted demands. And then from there, if they aren't successful and you do win your election, we've seen them just go completely scorched earth in the past few months. They do not care about the law at all. They don't care that it's illegal for them to fire us for wearing union shirts. They're doing it anyway. They have been denying us Weingarten rights left and right. And the only thing we've really been able to do since then is keep our partners educated and prepared for any union busting myths that we might throw at them. We do try to use a lot of inoculation tactics. So we keep every handout that we get, like the Workers United handout that you see there, or the collective bargaining thing, or we got one at the very start that said withdrawn petitions. If Workers United thinks that you're going to use your union election, they will withdraw your petition on your behalf and abandon you. So we keep all of the handouts that say things like that. We tend to make little notes or little dupes of them, like you see with the Whiskers United handout, and make them very similarly formatted. So we can just like replace them in the back of house without Starbucks noticing, without managers noticing. But it seems like Starbucks kind of uses the same lies over and over and over again. So we're generally decently prepared to provide a rebuttal and educate our partners against it, which has been helpful. A lot of times at my store, we would make a joke about it. You know, they would like give us all these lies at the captive audience meetings, and we'd all come upstairs and be like, that was funny, or like make a meme out of it, or be like, wow, guys, it's brutal out here. Just like try to laugh and not take anything too seriously. I think that's what kept us all going. And that's something that we found helpful at other stores too. Yeah.
That's
That's about it.
beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. So we heard about the Boss campaign and inoculation. Another thing that Starbucks is doing is creating these sort of AstroTurf campaigns of like, we are one Starbucks. This is a website that they set up and are trying to sort of scare the workers about the union or scare the workers about what they, you know, it's a way for them to sort of threaten to take away things without doing that outright. But in some cases that definitely backfired, and Kendall is here to talk about what happened at her store.
I'm muted. Hi guys, I'm Ken. I work at a Starbucks in Carbondale, which is also a college town like Evans. Let's see, I started in October of 2021. I have been wanting to, I knew I was going to organize that store when I got hired on. And they should have fired me then, honestly. I know I mentioned it. They should have fired me the first time they heard it, because look where we are. And so we won our election in August 11th, actually. And actually love being here because we kind of got our start on one of these Monday night calls. Yeah, I met Aisha. I popped in here. I found like a link on Reddit and I was like, yeah, I'll go to this. I work at a Starbucks. And I popped in here and I was like, I don't know what these people are talking about, but I'm gonna get in this chat right quick. And I was like, I need help. And Aisha was like, I'll just, here's my email. Just here you go. Email me later. I was like, all right, cool. And she got me set up. And that was actually the day, very exciting, that I don't know if you guys also experienced this, other baristas, but my manager like brought us the iPad one day, that morning actually, with Howard had just released a video that was like, hey, please don't unionize, we love you. And my manager was like, they want y'all to watch this, and then like walked away. And I looked at it and I was like, this is an hour long. It's 6:30 in the morning. What do you want us to stand here and watch it? Like, of course we're not going to do that. So we just Googled the highlights, figured out what it was about, shat on it for 3 hours, just talked so much shit. We formed an organizing committee that day because they wanted us to. I was like, damn, they really don't want us to. Should we just? And another partner was like, I mean, I'll do it. Like, I will if you will. And then we had our organizing committee, and it was all thanks to Howard. He did great work for us. I had to take notes because I'll talk for 3 hours. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then I met Aisha that night. We went public. That was August. No, not August. I'm sorry. That was April 11th. We went public May 30th. It went pretty quick. As far as on a local level, the kind of union busting that we experienced, I will be honest, we were spared a bit because it's Carbondale, Illinois. It's not New York. It's butthole Illinois. They're not coming down here. They don't care. Our manager our GM right now was plucked out of a Wendy's and is using this cushy job to float his DJ career. So bare minimum on all levels, including union busting, and it really saved us. But he tries his best. He really does. A fun game that we play is we will put up some union lit where we're legally allowed to. We posted something in the on our community board behind us in that photo, and we're like, hey, customers, like in case you don't know, this store is unionizing, and here's how you can support. And he would take it down, and I'd go, hey, do you know that if you can legally do that? And he would go, oh, I'm gonna do it. And I'll go, okay, buddy. And I would put it back up the next day. And it was a fun little game. Our local DSA chapter is really helping us out. One of the things they provide us with is free unlimited color printing, which is excellent. Because when we decide we want to put a thing up that we know James is going to take down, we're like, hey, let me get 30, 35 of these. We just play this fun little game. Another thing he did is he separated, he knew it was me first, and then he kind of clocked the other one. And he separated us. He said, okay, Ken's going to work nights, Sarah's going to work early mornings. You're never going to see each other. And we were like, you silly goose, we've got phones, but whatever. And we would write each other little notes on the DCR for the day. And she'd say, miss you. And I'd say, miss you too. Why does he think we don't have phones? And so I really kind of agree with Tori that like making fun of my manager for all of his union busting attempts was so effective. Every time I clowned on him, it embarrassed him, and he would kind of stop. Oh, I also really loved Tori, that thing y'all did where you would like dupe their anti-union lit. We did the same thing. I was so excited to see that. They did one that said it was like, hey, with a union, you could be paying up to this much in dues per month, and you might not even get anything for that money. Are you willing to gamble with your money? So we would do the same thing. We'd be like, look, if you buy car insurance, you could be paying $300 a month. You might not even use it. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to gamble? Are you gambling with your money? Silly geese, really. So I love that idea. I'm so glad like multiple people and stores are doing that. That's so much fun. We should share our dupes. We should have like cool. Oh, this was my favorite little union busty thing he did. It was so good. My manager hired someone that he had previously worked with at the Wendy's to come in, and they were kind of, I guess he thought they had a good working relationship. And he said, hey, okay, I'm just going to hire this guy out of nowhere. Ignore the few hundred people that have done online applications for this job. I'm just going to just bring this guy in. That way, when the election rolls around, he can vote no for me. He hired him like 3 weeks too late from the cutoff date. Dude didn't even get a vote, but good try, buddy. Good. And we're cool now. Like we're friends. We go out to the bars at night. Like he asked me 2 days ago where he could get a shirt. So he tried his best though. It's okay. It's okay. The shirt, I love this shirt. My manager about a week ago kind of wrote me up. I think he thinks he wrote me up. He made me sign something for wearing this shirt. Not only is it actually, thank you, Erin. I'm Italian. Not only is it actually legally protected now to wear union gear, except in special circumstances, which can technically be whatever they want. What they can't do, though, is blatantly, selectively enforce the dress code. And that's exactly what he did. No one has ever heard anything from him about dress code in the 7-8 months that he's been here. When I told everybody in the group chat, they were like, wait, I was wearing leggings today. I was wearing short shorts yesterday. I was like, we break dress code every day. Everyone knows it. We do not follow dress code. So I'm gonna have a talk with him tomorrow. He's back from vacation. I'm gonna say, hey, do you wanna get on the same page about it? Let us wear our fun shirts. Or are we gonna file our first ULP? That might be fun for us, right? Like we've never done that. Fun store activity, ULP. So we're gonna see how that goes. Keep you guys posted. I know that my other partners will vouch for the like selective thing, but also just because I'm extra, I've got like an air table with like here's what I wore this day. Here's whether he was present. Here's whether they did anything. I have one picture. I have one picture of me wearing my like engagement ring that has an onyx on it, no stones, right, in the dress code. And I got a good selfie with like my manager just like behind me. Like he's definitely here. Almost done. Okay. Oh, and I just kind of wanted to get to the good news. There is a bright side of union busting that I've been talking about since the beginning, because like it's kind of how we even started, right? At my store, at least, with the video. We got the video, and I didn't know how to broach the subject, right? So like Howard did it for me. I didn't have to say, hey, what do you guys think of it? I got to say, you see this shit? And they're doing a lot of this work for us, which I think they don't realize that they're doing. Every piece of anti-union lit that they put up gives us another shared experience with someone to go, hey, can you believe that shit? Did you see that? What do you think about that? You know, it gives you that in that you didn't have before. So there's the bright side to that. And also, Tori, I know you said like you were fired, but now you get to do this full time, right? So not only did you leave a string of unionized Starbucks stores in your wake, but now you've got all of your time to keep on that path. So did they really do something? No, I don't think they did. Yeah, that's pretty much all. So that's what's really, that's the bright side to me. They're never gonna win, because we see what happens when they try, and everything they try works in our favor every single time, every time. So just keep at it, guys. We're crushing it, and they can't fucking stop us. I'm done.
We appear to have lost Aisha. Hold on for just a moment. We'll see if we can get her back.
Oh dang, rip Aisha.
Heather, can you jump in?
Yeah, hey folks. Sorry about that. It seems like tonight we are being plagued with technical difficulties, so I'm just going to filibuster here for a second while I try and figure this out. Let's see. First of all, does anyone else on here right now want to type in Stack if they have a union busting related story to tell? Because that would be a good way to continue this. Okay, go ahead, Jacob. Why don't you tell us what's happening in your neck of the woods?
Sure, I hadn't prepared for this, but recently two of our main union organizers were terminated. One of whom was fired because they locked the door when they had a walkout. When everybody left, they went ahead and locked the door on the way out of the building, and they were like, "Oh, that's a fireable offense. You locked the door while we were still open. You weren't open. The entire store was closed because every single one of the workers had left." That was just a few weeks ago. So I know for our chapter, we've been sending out links to help folks directly. And I know that in cases, where it's clear retaliation for union activities, I mean, it's hard to get more clear than that. We're looking forward to the court cases coming up to see if we can get them reinstated, like with the Memphis 7 that got reinstated not long ago. So yeah, that ties into the benefit of working in a union. So if you do get fired, you can get reinstated. You can get back pay for the time that you were. Yeah, and that's a good point, Michael Lawrence. They could have been written up or fired for having left the door unlocked with the safe in there. So it's just like either which way, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Clear union busting activity, but as long as we keep supporting them, we'll see what we can do. It looks like Aisha's back, so I will stop filibustering.
Thank you so much, Jacob, and thank you so much, Kendall. Ken, those were such great stories. Yeah, so all of us have something that we can do as individuals, which is sign that no contract, no coffee pledge. If you already have, share it with friends, families, coworkers, and use that as an opportunity to talk about organizing, talk about what is going on at Starbucks. Tell these stories that you're hearing today. Tori was fired. Look at what Evan and Lydia are dealing with. Look what Ken's store is dealing with. Everyone, connect the pledge with a story. That's how people like start caring. And we can also donate to the Starbucks Workers United Coworker Fund, and you can set up recurring donations for that. So those are what we can do as individuals. As a DSA chapter, you can adopt a store. If you haven't already, go to tinyurl.com/adopt store. And if you are in a union, you can introduce this resolution for your local to donate to the Workers Strike and Defense Fund that was set up by Workers United. There is a sample resolution in the public agenda as well. And if you have questions about that, we also have a one-pager that we'll put in the chapter toolkit. So just some next steps. Next Sunday, September 18th, and also on September 25th, we're going to have a DSA Labor Assaulting 101, where we will talk about what strategic organizing is at non-unionized and unionized workplaces. If you are interested, please sign up. We're going to hear from people who have done this before. We'll hear about the history of strategic organizing. It's going to be really cool. And then in 2 weeks back here, same time, we're going to be talking about cops, coffee, and capitalism. We heard some stories of how Starbucks uses cops to assist with them in union busting. And we've seen this way too many times, both at Starbucks, and so many workers have had to deal with that. And DSA's new Labor Solidarity Fund is being set up and is now live since Labor Day. There's merch, which is really fun. And there's also a fund that you can donate to one time or do recurring donations to that as well. And Stack is now open for Q&A. So if you have a question, I see there was I'm gonna put Jacob on Stack, and then, sorry, I lost my chat because of the power outage issue. So the next person will circle back. Oh, sorry. Ken, were you able to answer Douglas's question?
Yeah, besides all the things that you said, excellent. Just speaking from the experience that we've had, like I mentioned, the printing has been amazing. 26 don't have a printer. So it was excellent. If you have something like that to offer, printing, another DSA member owns like a little business in town and told us that we could use that as a physical meeting space. That was so helpful. Anything like that. The way that we got in touch with those people was after, Aisha, you connected us to our local Workers United organizer, who then like found our local DSA chapter, and we all had a Zoom call together. So if you're the DSA part, maybe find the local Workers United organizer and go, hey, I'm here, I'm in this area. Whenever you get connected with the Starbucks workers in this area, like I'm here, reach out to me. To be the other end of that connection. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. And yeah, it can be all kinds of things. We just saw Chipotle in Lansing organized, and they said that the local DSA chapter provided childcare when they had organizing meetings. So it can be all kinds of things. There's so many ways, whether that's financially or just, there's so many things that we have to, everyone has something to offer to help. Jacob, you're on Stack.
Yeah, just going off the prior conversation just briefly, I know with our chapter, small chapter, a lot of the folks we were helping out didn't necessarily have great ways to bring striking equipment. So just helping out, moving things around, logistics is often a big help. But the question that I had is about the new DSA Labor Solidarity Fund. Is that intended for DSA chapters or for for Starbucks workers unions to get help through DSA chapters, or how does the fund gonna work?
Heather, did you have a direct response?
Yeah, so this is in our very early stages of it. And I want everyone to like bear with us because nothing like this has ever been done in DSA before. As of now, as the proposal was written, what's going to happen is chapters can get in touch with the National Labor Commission about a strike that they are supporting, and we will work with you and offer a grant to the chapter to do strike support. I think long term there is opportunity to do more things with this. So I don't want everyone to think like this is all this will ever be. But in the short term, it is meant to help support our chapters in their organizing. And if you want to do other forms of fundraising for strikes, we're encouraging chapters to reach out to compliance@dsausa.org. I do hope that moving forward, as we become a bigger, badder socialist organization, we're going to have a lot more ways to interact on this. And I'm very optimistic about that, but we're also just like a couple of volunteers trying to pull this together right now. So if you have more questions, like please feel free to email us, and we are doing everything we can to get this moving quickly, because we know this is a very serious need for both chapters and our organizing workers. But also the IRS is very scary and probably wants to defund socialism. So that's the other side of that. Like the reason we are being cautious is because we have a pretty big target on us.
Yeah, and again, there's so many things that chapters can do non-financially, but this is great for smaller chapters and any chapter to be able to work with national. Aaron, you're on stack?
Yes. Hello, my name is Aaron. I am in Portland, Oregon. I've been part of the Portland DSA for about 4 months, and I work at Plaid Pantry, which is basically just a convenience store like 7-Eleven. Not really any real food, where you get your sugar and tobacco and such. And apparently, I'm not being given my paid 10-minute breaks, because under Oregon law, your actual employees are actually required to be given a paid 10-minute break for every 4-hour work period, but mine are unpaid. I have to clock off for that. And I was wondering, where should I go to tell people that that's happening to me?
I'm going to ask if anyone from Oregon specifically is here who has an answer to that question, because I knew it does sometimes vary from state to state. In New Jersey, you can file a wage theft complaint with the New Jersey Department of Labor, but we can also take this question offline if no one here has a specific
Yeah, I'm sorry if it's not related to Starbucks, but
no, please don't be sorry. That these
okay.
questions are great. Everyone should be thinking about this. Actually, I saw someone today on Twitter who is a Starbucks worker asking about a friend who was dealing with wage theft issues. And there was a local worker center that I know can help her. But do we have, oh, sorry. Oh, Amanda, thank you.
Yeah, I'm based in Texas. So again, like Aisha said, the best resource for you, Aaron, would probably be something based in Oregon. But what Aisha said about a worker center is also probably your best bet. Worker centers are organizations that aren't quite labor unions, but do exist oftentimes to help workers that are experiencing wage theft, which is the term for what you're describing. You're not being paid for something that you should be paid for. They're stealing your wages. It's a form of wage theft. A worker center is probably your best bet for finding affordable advice about how to deal with that in your state. So absence any Oregon comrades who may know better, you might just head over to the Google machine and type like Portland, Oregon Worker Center and see what pops up. If you're in your chapter Slack, I would also holler at them and see if anyone there has local knowledge. There might even be a worker center in your community that someone knows somebody who works there or something like that and can help connect you. Yeah, and I think someone put a link. There's probably some stuff online about how to file a wage theft claim. But you know, none of us are lawyers as far as I know. So take this all with a grain of salt and talk with your local comrades.
Thank you. I would much prefer to talk to my comrades before my manager, because you know, I might get fired for trying to do this if I talk to the wrong people first, you know. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, and thank you so much for bringing up this question here because, all of these things are opportunities to organize. Ken talked about how when the boss was trying to union bust and they're putting up these things and it's just another opportunity to be like, hey, did you see that? So this is an opportunity for you to talk to your coworkers too about like, hey, are you also not getting paid when you should be getting paid? But the folks in Oregon are awesome. So we'll definitely make sure that you're connected with them. Eli had a question earlier. Eli, would you like to get on stack to, would you like to ask the question yourself or I can read it? Okay, so the question was, Starbucks recently appointed a new CEO to succeed Schultz in April 2023. I wonder if, since the bulk of stores that have gone public and continue fighting for recognition with Howard as the head of the company, the news of this impending change has influenced your store's organizing strategy or that of Starbucks Workers United overall. Howard says he is going to remain a highly visible presence, but the key decision-making will eventually shift to Laxman Narasimhan and his leadership team. This new CEO, not yet a billionaire, may double down on the union busting or may be willing to listen to different voices in the interest of saving the face of the brand. Solidarity to all. Would anyone like to take this question about organizing, knowing that you have a new CEO?
I think I have some theories on it. I don't think any of us really know what's going to happen with it. I do think he's going to probably go on a nice little tour of the country and like visit all of the stores and some union stores and be like, look, I care about you guys. I'm going to pretend to help out on the floor for 10 minutes, get a picture and then head out. So I do think he's going to try to play nice at first, get like a nice little PR campaign going, but I do think he's going to be Howard 2.0, and now there's going to be like a Howard Schultz and a CEO that we have to worry about, and I think we're going to have to fight a bit harder.
Thank you. Evan, did you also want to take the question?
She said basically what I was gonna say, just being like, we don't know what's going to happen, but we should be wary and prepared for anything that is to come.
Yeah, we definitely need to be like really skeptical and kind of prepare for the worst is what I'm looking at it as.
Well, he does not know what he's in for with all of you. And Ken said every time she has to open Partner Hub, she gets to see their upstate realtor looking ass headshot. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So bad, it does. Okay, I'm sorry.
We are approaching 9 o'clock, but if anyone has any final questions or Tori, Ken, or Evan, if you would like to share anything before we close out.
Did Frankie get? They were on stack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Frankie, you're up.
Hi, thank you. Quick question. I'm a chair of my local small chapter. I think Kendall was mentioning earlier about reaching out to local SBWU organizers. How would I find that person?
So
I don't actually have the answer for that. Aisha, I think you would know better because you were the one who found her and connected her to me. Okay.
yeah. So I know some of the Philly Joint Board folks. And I think I asked someone from there about the Midwest folks. So in Workers United has like different joint boards, but it's not like, it doesn't correspond with like every single location in the country. So, and then some locations have overlapping joint boards. So in Jersey, there's like a New York, New Jersey, there's a laundry. And then in Pennsylvania, there is a Philadelphia joint board and then a Pennsylvania joint board. So I assume it's the Pennsylvania joint board. Are you Northeast Pennsylvania? Right?
Yep.
Okay, so I assume that, but I can also connect you and make sure that you get, you can speak to the folks that would be for the stores in your area. If you want to DM me your email. Oh, and you can also DM it to Tori. Jacob, you also wanted to give a direct response?
The way we got in contact with ours, this was in the beginning when it was all just sort of popping off, was just by paying attention to social media posts from local things like, hey, we're unionized, we're this, even like a local like Reddit, something or another. Again, we're a small chapter, so it's a lot easier for us, but and just DMing and contacting them like, hey, we want to help, we're from this organization, what can we do, what can we do, what can we do? And that's a good way to try to directly get in contact with folks directly organizing, in addition to working through union stuff. So I'd say do both.
Perfect. I'm sorry, did I miss any other stack questions? Okay. Does anyone else have any questions before we close out for the night? Okay, I'm gonna say thank you so much again to Ken and Evan and Tori and Lydia who had to hop off. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. And then hopefully we'll see you at the upcoming SALT training and or the next call. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
If you want to get off mute and say goodnight, you can do that.
Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
Good night, solidarity, everyone.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Night.
Good night.